Temper expectations at the start. If you suffer from diabetics and want to live a normal life, click the link in the description for your free guide. Most people have this intense need for instant gratification. They want that 15 pounds gone by yesterday. While I'm all for efficiency, I'm going to be short and sweet and show reality with a pop quiz. True or false, it took more than a week to gain the weight you are trying to lose? The answer is undeniably true. So if it took you X number of months to gain weight, why would it take you a week or two to lose it? It doesn't. It takes time and some concerted effort. Don't expect to lose all of the weight immediately, but know that with proper habit formation and consistency, you will see the results you are after. The general rule for healthy weight loss is to aim for a max of 1 to 2 pounds per week. It's also quite common for people living with diabetes to take as long as 2 to 3 weeks before seeing any weight loss at all on a new diet. Why, you ask? Changing caloric intake and workout routines may require a reduction of insulin or other diabetes medication, as well as diet manipulation, which takes a little trial and error to adjust. Be patient. Once the ball is rolling, a slow and controlled weight loss makes it much more likely that the weight will come off and stay off than if you crash dieted and lost a lot of weight quickly. How about protein, carbs, and fat? I'm not going to stand here and tell you that there is only one way to lose weight with type 1 diabetes. I've had experience losing weight on a high-carb diet, low-carb diet, and moderate-carb diet. They're all predicated on the aforementioned calories in, calories out equation. But, a couple of tips to consider as you plan your diet. Protein is helpful in satiety and retaining muscle mass. In other words, protein will help keep you fuller for longer after meals, which is key in a situation where you are eating less than you may be accustomed to normally. Additionally, when people lose weight, the composition is typically 75% fat and 25% muscle. However, a higher protein diet has been linked to a reduction in the amount of muscle lost during a caloric deficit. 2. I could go on and on all day, but I'll leave you with this. Recommendation: aim to eat 0.5 to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight per day. It will help you keep your hard-earned muscles while losing weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, 91 kilograms, you should aim for 100 to 160 grams of protein per day. Note, if you suffer from kidney disease or have any history of kidney problems, increasing your protein intake may not be recommended. 3. Always consult your medical team before making major dietary changes. Carbs and fat are friends and food, so many people fear fat and carbs. It is too bad people won't give them a chance and get to know them, and recognize that there is nothing scary about them. They deliver a great deal of benefits, and they are delicious. Carbs are great for those quick bursts of energy you need during a workout. They also provide fiber, which is critical for digestive health and increasing satiety. Fat will come in handy during a long, sustained workout as the primary energy source. Fat also provides omega-3s, which are useful for anti-inflammatory effects as well as visual acuity, and additionally as the building block for hormones, like testosterone and estrogen. The keys are the sources from which you get them. Try to stick to the whole food, lesser processed varieties of fat and low glycemic carbs, rather than the frankenfoods that have been sitting on the shelf at the grocery store for ages. The other key is how much of each to eat. At the end of the day, it truly comes down to what works best for you and your blood sugar management. Maybe fewer carbs work for you but more carbs work for me. But, after determining calorie and protein needs, try to partition the remaining calories pretty evenly for fat and carbs. For example, if your calorie requirement is 2,000 per day and your protein needs require 800 calories, try to split the remaining 1,200 calories evenly between fat and carbs, 600 calories each, and work from there to determine the optimal amount for you and your goals. Exercise is great, but nutrition is the key. Raise your hand if you've heard the saying, "You can't out-train a bad diet." Maybe you've heard it, maybe not. Either way, it is very true. It's really difficult to overcome a poor nutritional intake. Really, really difficult. Don't get me wrong. Exercise is crucial for a healthy lifestyle and for a successful weight loss initiative. It provides a ton of benefits that otherwise wouldn't be attainable. But, in isolation, exercise alone will not result in as much weight loss as dieting will. 4. Source: diabetesstrong.com. However, what if we, dare I say it, utilize both? Both anecdotally and in the research, combining diet and exercise will result in the best outcomes while also setting you up for sustained success, as ideally, this weight loss should kick off a lifestyle change. How much should you exercise, and what type of exercise? If you are just starting out, you don't want to go from 0 to 100 real quick, because you may burn out or get discouraged. I recommend a combination of resistance training and cardiovascular training for optimal results. People overlook resistance training in the context of weight loss. This is what is going to help you keep your hard-earned muscle mass during the calorie reduction. If you suffer from diabetics and want to live a normal life, click the link in the description for your free guide.